Thank you, Dr. Arindam. Just I would like to now, am I audible, I guess, right? Now let me share my screen. So first let me just share my screen. Okay. My slides are visible, is it? Okay, fine. At the very onset, good afternoon all. So it's a very pleasure for me to just participate in this, I guess, a CME on Lab Week. So at first, I'll be very thankful to you, Dr. Arindam and Artri for inviting me. So I just got to log in for a few minutes for the previous lectures, and it was more like a very calm, composed, and very good lectures, but mine will be a something on very techniques, and I feel this the audience will not be getting bored with my presentation. Hopefully, my fingers are crossed. It will be more like a techniques type of presentation. So what I will be presenting is on automation in microbiology. So what is automation? Like, as we know that the entire earlier we used to do normal conventional methods for diagnosis, and it used to take a long time. So with the invent of automation, the turnover time and many of the stuffs has gone to decrease. So this has led to an improved patient care. So automation is a use of control systems and informations technologies, reducing the need of human interventions. So fully automation, when you know the term, it's a commonly defined as requiring no control or very limited control by the operator or use. So you have different types of automation, and the main perspective of automation is to focus the task required to specific skill. It can increase productivity with the highest quality of results, largely circumvents to repetitive manual processing, but it will not intend to replace the cognitive decision making of us. So these are the what is automation, that is only the use of machine in enhancing our quality of results. So why and where we need automation? Firstly, automation is usually recommended in patients where the volume of the lab load is very high. So when we have a high lab load, then high patient samples are required. There we recommend automation. When in case of microbiology, and why is required? To reduce the workload, to increase productivity, improve turnaround time, errors reductions, more accurate data, more improved patient management, plus it will reduce direct human labor costs. So automation is essential. So when you talk about, like, in microbiology, we have bacteriology, viruses, fungi, and parasites. So when you talk about automation in bacteriology, we have different steps of automation. So first step is that when we get a sample, you need to first staining is done. So there are various type of instruments, automated system for staining of the slides. So this is an automated staining instrument which has been used for gram staining. It has advantages. There is uniformity in the staining, but it has replaced it is less time consuming. When there are lots of slides are required to be stained, this type of machine can be used. But we have here, in India, I guess many places, it's always the manual staining has been used. Then after automated staining, we in microbiology, we need lots of media. So this is a picture of our lab in PGI Chandigarh. So what we have is we need media for the growth of a bacteria. So for growth of bacteria, this is a automated media preparator and dispenser. So what we do is that there is a port is there where we will dispense the ingredients, and later on the plates are processed and we get the plates. So the advantages is that in PGI we have a very high throughput lab. We have lots of samples are received. So for that, manual preparation of media is getting very difficult. So we have an automated media preparator. So advantages is that lots of slides can be done, plus contamination. When automated manual media preparator is used, the chances of getting contamination of the plates are very less. So first we have a staining, then we have a media preparator. Now, after we get a media, we have different automated inoculation system has been developed. So various company has developed some inoculation system. We have VAF, Parvisola, Innova, and Inocula by Kiestra, Netherlands. So this is a picture of a various inoculate systems. So you have an organism, you need to inoculate in a plate. So different automated systems for inoculation has been also come out. So these are two different types of plates. This is another WAPS and loop-based inoculation system. And you have different Innova, and this is another Kiestra. So basic difference is that the way you can see in the picture, the streaking of the slides of the plates are different in this, but some use calibrated loop, combs, calibrated loop, and beads. The only difference is the streaking is different, but we do not have as such automated streaking system. I guess not in India, but outside India, there are various institutes which they have used automated streaking system is also been done. Now you have the staining, we have made the plates, we have made the streaking. Now after streaking, we need to see the culture, we need to go an incubation system. So we have a smart incubator systems are also there, where the image analysis are done on the basis of growth, and we can see the growth in a smart incubator system. So these are two companies which have shown a smart automated incubator which are used. But I'm still emphasizing that it's not here in India, but it's there in outside. So this is a picture of another compact incubator, and this is a vast incubator. So when you talk about levels of automation in bacteriology, we have inoculation, we have a partial lab automation, and now a term has come as that is known as a total lab automation. So what is total lab automation is that putting the entire specimens on track with no human intervention in the middle. So few companies have come out with the different types of total lab automation. So I'll show you a picture of a total lab automation. So this is a picture, a diagram of a total lab automation where samples are received by barcoding and then it is processed. You have different incubators, different streaking procedures are there, and entire process of sample handling and up till the plates part, it is done by automation. Yes, but here the reading part is not yet automated, because still now we have reading and analyzing the report has been not taken by the automated systems. So this is a picture that was published in Journal of Clinical Microbiology. This is a lab of a picture showing of a lab by a total lab automated system that is outside. Another picture of a total lab automation system, and this is another picture. So you can see that entire process is lab automated. So India is not yet in the phase of this total lab automation, but still a time will come when the entire microbiology, bacteriology setup will be turning out to be a total lab automation. So now these are the things which I am discussing that are not present here in India. But what automation, when we come to know, is first is the blood culture. This is everyone has heard about blood culture. Earlier blood culture, we used to do blood culture in a conventional method. So conventional, we used to take into the blood conventional bottle, we used to look at the turbidity and then we to find out the growth. But here, using the automated system, different automated system, the turbidity is not looked after, but we get a beeping. When growth is there, a beep is there, and then we can process the sample. So these are the different blood culture automated system. This is a bioMero automated blood culture system that is known as BacT-Alert, and this is a VersaTrack. So the principle of all this working principle of this automated system of blood culture is almost similar. It is a microorganism. When there is there in the growth is there, they will produce carbon dioxide and they will metabolize the substrate. The carbon dioxide will diffuse into the sensor and it will be detected by fluorescent or colorimetric based detection. So at the base of each bottle, there is a carbon dioxide sensor which will monitor the bottle, and then there will be emitting of the slide, and then it will be measured by the instrument. So blood culture has been a commonly and most effective automated system that has been used in diagnosis of infectious agents. Then comes another is a midget that is used for mycobacterium growth indicator system. This is also a bit similar, but it is specific for mycobacterium growth. The principle is almost similar. It's about the as the organism growth, it quenches the oxygen and that allows the fluorescence and you can get the indicator of the growth. So this is a picture of a mycobacterium growth indicator tube media. Now we have the blood culture. Now, after growing of the organism, we need to identify. So, there are various automated systems for identification of organisms. So, most commonly is we have phenotypic method, then we have a genotypic method. So, when we talk about the phenotypic method, the most commonly everyone has used is Vitek and Phoenix. So what is Vitek? The Vitek is a bioMérieux company which has launched this Vitek, which is an automated system which is used for both identification as well as antibiotic sensitivity. So the basic earlier in conventional methods for microbiology, we used to put different tubes, different biochemical tests used to put, and it's to take a longer duration to generate a report. But with the introduction of this Vitek automated system, identification has been reduced to around 4 to 6 hours. So what that does is that it uses a colorimetric reagent card, which has this is a 64 wells cards are there, where there are different substrates are added, and with the basis of this substrate analysis, the organisms are detected. Vitek has another advantages. We have different AST, the antibiotic sensitivity testing can be also done using a microbroth dilution principle. You can get the antibiotic sensitivity results in around 6 to 18 hours. So the advantages of Vitek is that earlier diagnosis, earlier identification of the organism is done, earlier issue of the antibiotic sensitivity reporting can be done, and you can in fact get the MIC of the organism too. So bioMérieux has a system that is Vitek 2. Then another company, BD Phoenix, this is also a similar same. It is also it is used for only identification as well as AST. Both bioMérieux, Vitek and Phoenix, they are used for identification of bacteria and yeast. So these are the two commonly used phenotypic method, that is Vitek and Phoenix, which can be used both for identification and sensitivity testing. Now comes another very commonly used technique which is very much in vogue these days, that is called as MALDI-TOF. That is matrix associated laser desorption ionization time of flight. So what is this? First of all, this is used only for identification, not for antibiotic sensitivity. You can only identify the organism. So this is the instrument that is present in our lab. So what does MALDI does is that it's a proteotypic identification of systems. So by use of mass spectrophotometry, a unique molecular fingerprint of the organism is created, and this fingerprint is matched with the databases that is present in the setup, and then we compare and we identify the organism. So in a very layman term, I'm trying to explain that we need to get the fingerprint of the organism, and then that is compared with the database that is present in the instrument. So this is a picture. We have two systems. One is by bioMérieux, that is called Vitek MS, another by Bruker, that is known as Biotyper system. So you just need to, this is a small plate. You can see here in the small well, we just inoculate the organism, and after inoculation, we just put it in the machine. I'm so sorry. Then we have another advantages is that this machine has also added advantage is that apart from gram positive, gram negative, it is used for identification of yeast as well as molds. The principle, as I have all told you, it's a matrix associated laser mass spectrophotometry. The sample is analyzed and in a matrix, and the matrix absorbs the laser light and vaporizes along with the sample. Then electric fields guided ions are created, and which separates the organism based on the mass, that is the weight, and displays as a series of spectrum. We get like this spectrums are detected, and these spectrums are compared with the databases. So only thing is that MALDI cannot be used for antibiotic sensitivity. It is only used for identification, and the turnaround time of MALDI is less than over 3 minutes per isolate. So it's a very high identification system. Apart from bacteria, yeast, it can also use for identification of molds too. So um, um, this is a study of use of MALDI in mycobacteria cultures from solid and liquid media. We can see this has a very high result of identification, and this is another result showing non-tuberculous species of mycobacterium, how it has been isolated. For entire this tree procedure, we need to have the organism from the culture plate, and from the culture plate, the organisms are identified. This is a comparison between the two systems which I have discussed, that is a Bruker's MALDI and a Vitek BM MALDI. Both have a similar type of results and both are equally efficient. The one which we have in PGI Chandigarh is the bioMeru Vitek MS. This is a study of how the MALDI turf of two system has been shown. It is seen that compared to the conventional method, the MALDI has a better identification. So I have been telling about only the advantage of automation. So when you talk about the limitations, yes, this has a limitation, because when you work in it, we can see many a times a very exotic type of organisms is also identified. We come to know, we find it that this is a case report or something like that, but for those things we have to analyze. So for those things, a phenotypic conformation, a genotypic more confirmation is required. So disadvantage, we have a lot of resources is the one of the most commonly used, and the library is required, and for based on the library only the organisms are identified. So these are few limitations of this type of phenotypic methods. So till now we have discussed about the Vitek identification, we have discussed about the MALDI. Now identification can be also done by the most commonly used technique here. Me being a virologist, we cannot do culture, we do PCR. So polymerase chain reaction is the most commonly used identification technique for us, and as a virologist. So we have different types of PCR. We have conventional PCRs. Conventional PCR may be a reverse transcriptase PCR, or there may be a nested PCR. We have multiplex PCR and real-time PCR. And also we have LAMP PCR. LAMP PCR is nothing but a loop-associated amplification PCR, where isothermal temperature is used, and real-time PCR is the most commonly, and these days real-time PCR is the most commonly used technique. So when you talk about PCR, we need to have a sample. From the sample, we need to extract the material. So extraction platform. So when you talk about extraction platform, we need to have a DNA or an RNA. Suppose for other organisms, before conventional way, we used to have different kits. For DNA isolation, we used to have a separate DNA extraction kit. For RNA isolation, we had a separate extraction kit. But with the invent of automatic nucleic acid platforms, this entire thing has become very easy. So, and we don't need to have a separate thing for both DNA or RNA. A simple nucleic acid extraction is achieved. So personally, I have experience in working with this entire company. This is an automatic nucleic acid platform. So the samples is taken and we just load it in the wells and we get the extracted material. So the advantages is that there is chances of contamination is very less. The chances of getting a pure product or pure nucleic acid is very high. Each of these different companies has a different time. Suppose before we used to work in this bioMeru NucliSense, this machine has eight slots. So minimum we need 8 samples to get a sample, to get it extracted. 8, 16 and 24. That was a slot. High media and Thermo Fisher, but Thermo Fisher we need a 96 samples. So we need, otherwise if you don't fill the entire plate, the reagents gets lost. So those things has to be taken in mind. What is the size of the lab, what is the patient samples you'll be receiving. With basis on that, we have to get a machine. So the time when you talk about is for high media is very fast. It takes only about 15 minutes, and Thermo Fisher I think half an hour, nucleosynth around half an hour. So these are the different commonly used automatic nucleic acid platforms, and this has been really helping us in giving a faster diagnosing in our virology lab. So before COVID, we used to use only nucleosynth, but now entire this product has been there. So now we have the nucleic acid product. There are different platforms that has been come out that where after nucleic acid products, you need to put it in a PCR for sample up till the sample preparation, up till the master mix preparation has been automated. So when COVID first set up, first broke, there initially a Chinese company that is MGI, they had given this instrument. This is the instrument. This is known as the MGI instrument. So where up till we used to just load the sample, then entire plate would come out with including the master mix. So just needed to take out the plate and just put it into the PCR and run the machine. So that type of automation is done. So now another machine, Cobas AmpliPrep, this is also a same and Abbott M200 real-time system. This is also same. Now advantages is that the chances of contamination, all those things are there, but there are lots of disadvantages in when you use this type of platform is that they are very closed systems. So you cannot use different master mix. You have to use the PCR kits of their company only. So that is a very it's a closed system, so it has using of this comes with lots of disadvantage. But when you talk about the only the automatic nucleic acid platforms, only the up till the extraction you have to use their company, but after that the master mix and the PCR you can use any company. So that this is a little bit of open system. But when you talk about automated nucleic acid platforms with sample preparation techniques, this is an entirely closed system. Up till the PCR reagents you have to be bound to the company, you have to get those company reagents. So this is a in our lab here we have this MGI, we have this Cobas AmpliPrep system. This is from the company Roche. We use routinely for the diagnosis of hepatitis B viral load, C viral load and CMV viral load. So these are sample preparation. Now there are two platforms that has come out for PCR. When you talk about PCR, it's in a high throughput molecular platforms where along with the extraction, the PCR is also there in this two machines. So there are two. One is from the Abbott and one is from the company Roche. Cobas is from Roche and Alinity from this Abbott. So these are mostly used for the viral load quantification of B, C, CMV, HIV, BK virus, etc. So till now, I have discussed the normal conventional PCRs in how automation has taken over each and every steps of the PCR. Now there are another few methods of automation is CBNAT, that is called as cartridge-based nucleic acid amplification technique. This system was first used in case of TB, that is for detection of TB and rifampicin resistance. So where you just need to take the sample in this, and we have to put the sample in this cartridge, and this cartridge just put it inside the machine and you can get the results. The principle is a polymerase chain reaction. It's a PCR based machine, but it is it's a cartridge based. So you have a cartridge. So first it was done for TB. Then during COVID, we used to have the SARS-CoV-2 GeneXpert cartridge was there. Now we have hepatitis B, hepatitis C, human papilloma virus GeneXpert cartridge. We have also flu panel where 2 flu virus can be also be detected. Now disadvantage of CBNet I can tell, because I have personally worked in CBNet, is that when you talk in case of SARS-CoV-2, very high CT value also they used to give as positive. So the same patient, if he comes with a high CT value of 35, when we do a normal real-time PCR, we would never given it as a positive, but with a CT value of 35 or 36, CBNet used to give it as a positive. So still we need to interpret the results of CBNet properly. Another closed system is based on the same molecular PCR technique, is a chip-based technique that is known as TrueNat. So TrueNat is a battery-operated platform. Earlier it was used only for TB, but after emergence of COVID, SARS-CoV-2, now these TrueNat have chip for dengue, chikungunya, rabies, malaria, trichomonas, and a hell lot of organisms. But both TrueNet and CBNet are closed systems, but TrueNet has certain advantages which CBNet doesn't have. In case of COVID, the sample which we TrueNet was a point of care test. We used to take, it can be used, we don't need a biosafety level, biosafety cabinet when we process a TrueNet samples, because the sample which we used to receive for TrueNet was used to come in a different viral transport media, which has a it's already decontaminated sample has used to receive. But whereas in case of CBNet, the sample is to come in a normal viral transport media. The disadvantage of TrueNet is that from the same sample, we cannot do the PCR, the normal conventional PCR, because it's to come in already a decontaminated sample. So it is a TrueNet is a chip-based technique, whereas GeneXpert or the CBNet is a cartridge-based technique. These are very close automated system for identification. Now another new multiplex polymerase chain reaction has come out, that is known as a BioFire. This is introduced by the company bioMeru, which uses a syndromic approach for identification of organisms. So if a patient comes with suppose it has come with an encephalitis, you just need to take the sample and put it into the machine for the encephalitis panel, and in that panel a including bacteria, viruses, parasites, all are identified. So advantages is that with a single sample, you can perform a lot of tests. This is a picture of bioMeru torch multiplex panel, where the entire torch panel can be done in a single go. You take a sample, put it in the cartridge, and then in the machine you can get the results. So the BioFire has come out with a pneumonia plus panel plus targets, which targets around 34 targets. So you can see a lots of organism, bacteria, atypical bacteria, virus, antibiotic resistance, all can be done in a single go. Yes, but this is a very costly technique. A per sample will cost around, I think in a government setup, I'll say it will cost around be 8,000 rupees. So we have to be very much specific when we recommend this type of test. Plus, disadvantage is that sometimes we get 2-3 organisms may come out. So at that time, our interpretation of this assay is required. So these are the different assays for of the BioFire respiratory. We have around 22 targets, panels are there, 43 targets for blood culture, GI panel, encephalitis panel, and bone and joint infection panels are also there. So till now, the PCR-based techniques are done. Now, another automated system is used is a nucleic acid. So another automated nucleic acid system is genomics sequencing. So we know that before conventional systems was there, that was Sanger sequencing was done, but Sanger sequencing is a basic sequencing where we used to, the samples are taken, runs are put, then we need to get the proper gene target has to be known. For suppose we need to do a sequence of a dengue, we need to know the target E gene sequence, and then the sequence can be done. We have to do a conventional technique, but with the invent of next generation sequence, the entire sequencing platform has gone into a bit automation. So this is a picture of a Sanger sequencing where we need to know the normal target and then it is amplified. Then another is a next generation sequencing where we have a reference genome, and with the basis of the reference genomes, bits and bits of sequence are done, then this sequence are aligned. So next generation sequencing is a type of automation where we do not need a manual intervention or manual thing. We just need to take the sample, get it extracted and put it inside the machine and we get the sequencing. But for Sangers, we need to run a multiple types of PCR to get the proper band, and then from the band a sequence is done, because for Sangers, we need to know the target gene. So next generation sequencing is also a type of automation. So both has advantage and disadvantages, but commonly used technique. If somebody asks me, say, what are the technique you need, but which is a commonly suggested sequencing method you will suggest, I will suggest a Sanger sequencing because it's cost effective and it is easier to interpret compared to next generation sequencing where we need a lots of bioinformatics tool. So, but later on this NGS will be taken over by Sangers. Earlier, NGS was a bit costlier, but after COVID, this NGS has also come, the price of a sample for doing a NGS has also come down. Now, these are the different NGS platform. We have the Illumina platform, we have the Ion Torrent platform. Just you need to put the sample here and you'll get the gene sequence. Another automated system sequencing method is a nanopore sequence, which uses a nanopore device. The samples are extracted and here it is loaded in the flow cell, and with the basis of nanopore technologies we get a database. So sequencing, I'm not going much into detail because it's a very humongous topic and it will be a very boring for the audience. So a brief about the sequencing, I would just like to highlight that sequencing has also is a part of an automation. So now, at the end, I would just to highlight what is artificial intelligence and automation. So automation is just a technology to minimize it is used to minimize or there is no human intervention is required. It is a technique to help us. But artificial intelligence is a science of creating machines to solve problems that are too complicated to the human brain. So with the combination of artificial intelligence with automation, I don't know what role we will be having, but still till now both of them has not been clubbed. So with this, I would just like to thank you, and I think I have not given a very elaborated presentation. I hope the audience are not bored with my presentation, and sorry for the little bit of disturbance which I caused. Apologies.